Hello, I want to speak today about lipids, also known as fats. At the end of this speech, I would want the audience to understand the differences between a couch potato's dietary choices, and an athlete or a marathon runner's choices for his daily diet. The prevalence of our advanced economic, social, and technological situation has caused an epidemic of obesity in our country. The couch potato will make bad choices in choosing fast foods because fast foods are cheaper, they are more available, and they are more prevalent in society. For instance, this quarter pounder, you can get 2 of these for $3. Each of these sandwiches has a total of 410 calories with 19 grams of fat and 1 gram of trans fat. Let's talk about trans fat. Trans fat, according to physicians, is the worst ingredient a human being can ingest. Trans fats raise the level of your bad cholesterol, the LDL. At the same time, it lowers the levels of your good cholesterol, the HDL. Trans fats are made from adding oxygen to vegetable oil. Food manufacturers do this in order to give the food they produce a longer shelf life, wherein trans fat gives food a longer shelf life. In the human being, it is a definitely shortener of a human being's life. A couch potato would make these kinds of choices. He would order a McDonald's double quarter pounder with a total of 740 calories for this one sandwich, with a total of 42 grams of fat and 2.5 grams of trans fat. Or he may order a Wendy's Baconator. This sandwich has a total of 830 calories, 51 grams of fat, and again 2.5 grams of trans fat. According to the American Cancer Society, we should ingest 0 grams of trans fat. On the other hand, an athlete or a marathon runner, if they were forced to eat at a fast food restaurant, would make wholly better choices. An athlete or a marathon runner would make a choice of McDonald's. He or she may order a regular hamburger, which only has 250 calories and 9 grams of fat, with 0.5 grams of trans fat. Or they may order a White Castle double White Castle sandwich with 250 calories, 13 grams of fat, and 1 gram of trans fat, which is wholly better, as we can see, than the order of a couch potato. The American Cancer Society recommends that for a person with a 2,000 calorie diet, that only 20 to 30% of their total intake of fat for that day should be 20 to 30%, which means 40 to 60 grams of fat. As you can see, the couch potato exceeds that amount with just one sandwich. So here is 42 grams of fat in one sandwich, 64 grams of fat in one sandwich, and 51 grams of fat in another sandwich. That shows you that these bad food choices, even one meal, will exceed what's recommended for daily intake. Along these lines, in a website called acaloriecounter.com, they listed 10 food items that would be likely to kill you. Number 1 and 2 of these items are White Castle onion rings, and White Castle fish nibblers. Number 1 contains 30 grams of trans fat, and the White Castle fish nibblers contain 16 grams of trans fat. Number 2 and 3 and 4 of items that are most likely to kill you is going to be KFC's pot pie with 14 grams of trans fat and Burger King's hash browns with 13 grams of trans fat. Numbers 5 and 6 of 10 foods that are likely to kill you is going to be White Castle's chicken rings and Jack in the Box fish and chips, both with 13 and 12 grams of trans fat. Now, the American Cancer Society recommends that we ingest from 1,000 to 3,000 grams of salt per day. That's for a person on a 200,000 calorie diet. We can clearly see that in the couch potatoes choices, one meal he will ingest 1,380 grams of salt, and in the worst case scenario with the Wendy's Baconator, the couch potato will ingest nearly 2,000 grams of salt with just one sandwich. Number 7 and 8 of the 10 foods that's most likely to kill you is going to be Jack in the Box cheddar wedges and White Castle clam strips, both containing 12 grams of trans fat. Numbers 9 and 10 of the 10 foods that's most likely to kill you is going to be Dairy Queen's chicken strips and White Castle French fries, both containing 12 grams of trans fat. Basically, when you walk into a fast food restaurant and order a normal meal, you will exceed all of the daily recommendations. And these aren't recommendations for the good stuff like vitamin C. These are the limits on the daily recommendations for the bad stuff like saturated fat, trans fat, and calories, empty calories. But the prevalence of fast food, because they are inexpensive and because they taste good, they have led our country to this epidemic of obesity. The couch potato choices are bad. All fast food is bad, but better choices can be made. I hope that the advertisement that draws our community to frequent fast food restaurants is counteracted by the information that I have shared with you today, and it is my hope that you will make better food choices and help eradicate and not join the ranks of those that are obese. Thank you very much for your time.